GM fam, it's Daito here with an update on my Diablo 4 Necromancer. So, I finally got a tier 80 Nightmare Dungeon solo clear. And I did it with a Bone Spear build. So, if you see my previous videos, I was running like an Infinimist, Blood Mist Corpse Explosion type build that was really tanky. But the problem with that was, as soon as I got into the tier 80 level Nightmare dungeons, I just didn't have the DPS to take down the elites. So I actually remember one of my first tier 80 attempts as that Infinimist build. I cleared everything in the map, and the only thing that was left were the elites, and I was like, holy crap, like this is not viable. There just weren't enough corpses or DPS output in order to to finish the objective, and I was like, this isn't the life for me. And on top of that, when you think of Uber Lilith, right, like her mechanics in terms of one-shotting people are so intense. You really can't even take down that boss reliably unless you kind of DPS her down in 90 seconds and whatnot. And so I decided to bite the bullet and go class cannon style. So I'm kind of scrolling through my stats and abilities right now. I'll give a shout out to Rob and EXO in the comments and link to their builds, because what I'm running is actually a hybrid of what they do, both in terms of their Paragon boards, their skill trees, and their gear as well. But you can see here I'm running Decrepify instead of Corpse Explosion. And another difference that I'll point out on this Paragon board is, because I'm not running Corpse Explosion, I can actually use 5 points to run down and grab this maximum life on the starter board, because on the Flesh Eater board, we're not grabbing that legendary node. Other than that, I wanted to spend time on some of the gear, which is by far not optimized yet. So there's plenty of room for this character to grow. I am running Deathless Visage for the added DPS. It's got some decent rolls. When I push into the 90s and the 100s, there's a chance I'll use a regular helm. So I'm looking for a helm with maximum essence, either total armor or max HP, Decrepify, and then cooldown reduction, and I'll throw a might aspect on it in order to get that increased damage reduction after I use a basic ability. I'm hoping that I can stick with the DPS helm, but if need be and survivability's really tough at the higher tiers, I'll probably switch to a regular helm similar to what EXO runs. In terms of my chest, this is pretty good. I'd like a higher roll on that total armor or even max HP, but otherwise it's pretty good, and the quad is there. My gloves are also decent. I'd love another point on ranks of Bone Spear, but other than that, this is really good as well. These pants, not a huge fan of. As I mentioned in a previous video, I've got damage reduction from distant enemies as well as damage reduction from close enemies. So I'll never benefit from both of those things from the same enemy at the same time. So ideally, I'd like that damage reduction, at least one of them, preferably the one from close enemies, to be something like, HP or something else to give me some more survivability. These boots are annoying the hell out of me. I need max evade charges and also another point on corpse tendrils. And you can see in the tier 80 solo clear, I was still running with increased movement speed after killing elites, which is bananas. So, as I push higher, there's a good chance I'll take off that additional movement speed and roll it into something like intelligence. This two-handed weapon is pretty good. I like the item level. Ideally, I'd change that core skill damage into something like bone skill crit damage, which would make this thing beautiful. My amulet needs some work. I'd like, instead of the bone skill damage or the flat-out damage, like, if crit damage is possible on the amulet, I'd like to throw that on there instead. And now the rings are what's killing me the most. Both of them are what are keeping me from killing Uber Lilith, I think. It's that lucky hit chance that I'd rather have be maximum essence. If I could get maximum essence on these two rings, I think I would be set. That's pretty much it. that's the build. I'm kind of sad that I had to leave, the tanky Blood Mist build, but, the game is what it is. Give this build a shot. Let me know how it goes. Leave comments and likes and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you next time, fam.